Hi, how are you doing today? Today I wanted to talk about balance. I had a thought that came to me a long time ago in reference to balance. I believe that naturally everything ebbs and flows. For every negative, there's a positive. And for every positive, there could be a negative. There's this straight line that we all long for, but life is more kind of like this. You know? When I think of balance, I think of the universe outside of our world. You know, there's no visible force or structure that we can see that's holding everything in place out there. And I have to wonder, how did that come to be? At some point, these things had to participate in this natural occurrence of ebb and flow. I'm sure some planets were marauded with asteroids and meteors and stuff like that, and some other planets, in the materials that they were made up of in their evolution, you know, left them icy cold, you know. They had to go through all of those motions in order to be where they are right now. This natural process. Because, you know, planets don't get a choice, I don't think. And then they ended up where they are. Beautiful in our eyes. And just sitting perfectly right where they were always intended to be. And when I think about that, it gives me a lot of comfort towards life. There is this balance. In our conscious mind, we're mostly reactive, so I don't think that a lot of people see it. I think some people may give into the notions of everything should be perfect all the time. Or that everything is awful all the time. And all the while, underneath this layer of their reactive conscious mind, there's this process that exists of balance. To hang on to that realization and to use it as somewhat of kind of a tool is it's very useful. And it could bring balance to your life. Whenever something extremely bad happens, which there was a moment actually this morning where something happened and I was like, oh no, this is bad. This is not good. This is bad. And my conscious reactive mind, I fed into that so quickly. Oh no. And after a few moments, it came back to me. Well, this is not good or favorable. But because this thing happened, I know in my heart that something good is right around the corner. Something that will balance these scales of life out for me. And it takes practice to get out of that reactive state of mind. But if you can do it for a moment, and I don't really think it's something that at first you really get out ahead of. I think it's something that when the reaction begins, and you shouldn't feel guilty for this because we're all programmed this way. When the reaction begins, even if it gets you for a few moments, to be able to stop. Wait a minute. This is a single situation, but my knowledge tells me the plan for all time. And all time supersedes a moment. To be able to withdraw the emotional body and to go inside and say, what is it that I know about life? What is it that I hold? That's gonna make this not feel so bad. So although in the moment it did get me, and eventually I was able to quiet my emotional body and remember what I know. Remember that thing that gives me hope. That thing that I place my faith in. And that's the belief in this universal balance. Which may have a lot to do with the law of karma as well. Maybe that's what karma comes down to, this balance. It's the maintaining of this balance. But after I was able to come back to myself and realize, wait a minute, this was a bad thing. This was not helpful. I was able to start reinvesting my faith in that balance. Okay. Something good's it's right around the corner. Something is right around the corner that's gonna balance this out. And maybe if I could use that as a tool in the positive moments as well, to realize that, man, this is a great moment. But there will be moments that aren't so great. So I'm going to take the joy and the happiness of this good moment, and I'm going to try to hold on to that. Keep it. Store it. So that way when the bad moment comes, it'll be there to solidify my notion that something good is right around the corner. Balance is just so important. Balance can bring you peace. Just to sit and contemplate on balance and reflect it off of life, the world, and the universe. There's this commonality between all of it. So if you're having a rough moment, first, forgive yourself for the reaction. Our minds and hearts are ever evolving. The moment that you stop forgiving yourself is the moment that the growth stops. So after the reaction, forgive yourself for reacting. We're all learning. No one is expected to be perfect in this world. No, that is not expected of anyone. I promise you. And let your mind wander back to this notion of balance. Take a breath. Let it go. And reincorporate that faith in balance. And by doing this, you're going to automatically be shifting your mind towards something positive. What you're doing is you're creating hope for yourself. The hope and belief that, hey, this bad thing's just a moment. It's just a moment. Something good's on the way. And because this bad thing happened, I know for a fact that something good is on the way. Because I have faith in this process of universal balance. Man, I believe in it so much. Because earlier today I felt like, oh man, for a moment, I felt like, the world just fell apart, you know? And it took a little bit of time after that happened today to reposition myself into a place of faith and hope. As long as you have faith, there will always be hope. You have to recognize the small self, and that it's the small self that wants to react, that wants to lose faith. And that it's the large self, your inner self, that place that holds light and faith and hope, that will get you through that moment. And in participating in this process, you are creating your own balance and your own harmony. You're beginning to master yourself. Your mind, your emotion, and your body. And I hope when that moment comes that you realize that. And that gives you strength. And some of that belief in balance will start to transpose itself onto your belief in yourself. That you can create this perfect balance. Much like a person on a tightrope. Sometimes things can make you wobble. But as long as you don't ever completely throw in the towel on this faith and balance, you will never fall off of that rope. You might wobble a little bit, and you might struggle. But that's just the ebb and flow. And as I mentioned in a previous video, that struggle and that ebb and flow, there's a lot of beauty in that. And if you can take a moment and step back and reevaluate the entire situation, from the bad moment happening to the quieting of your mind to the reinstallation of this faith and then the blossoming of hope, there's so much beauty in that, and you did it all inside yourself. That's something that you should feel good about. And I wish that for you. So, I could go on and on about balance. But like they say, as above, so below. As this perfect, uncontrolled balance is demonstrated in the heavens above us, so can it be down here on earth. A perfect balance. And it all begins with you and I. Well, this has gone on pretty long, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up with this one. Just remember, by your choice alone to participate in this notion of balance, you are creating it. Alright, that's enough for this video, and I hope that you have a good day, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for stopping by to listen and taking the time, not just for me, but for yourself. And I wish you all the best. Thank you. Bye.